Unfortunately, we have someone that is occupying the White House, and as far as I'm concerned, he is an enemy to the United States. He swore an oath just like the rest of us. But right now, when you are literally putting us at risk, all because of what? Because you want to convince your followers that you should be a dictator too, that you should never leave the White House.
Señores, si todavía siguen indignados, siguen avergonzados por el espectáculo que dio Donald Trump en la oficina oval atacando al presidente Zelensky, entonces los invito a que se tomen unos minutos conmigo, porque hoy veremos lo que dijo Jasmine Crockett. Amigos, hablamos de un discurso simplemente brutal. Su respuesta sin filtros contra Trump no solo fue impecable, sino que además se sintió como esta terapia colectiva, ¿cierto? Y es que, amigos, no solo era un mensaje para los estadounidenses, sino que también para el resto del mundo, dejándoles claro algo muy importante. Nosotros estamos tan avergonzados de Trump como ellos. Sean bienvenidos a Políticamente en Desacuerdo. Amigos, hoy veremos cómo Donald Trump ha perdido el control, ya no aguanta más, mientras Jasmine Crockett lo confronta en vivo. Así que los invito a que se queden hasta el final de este video porque, señores, traigo los momentos más interesantes. Perfecto, señores, para poder empezar directamente con lo bueno, quiero que escuchemos las palabras de Jasmine Crockett.
While some Republicans are defending President Trump's actions, my next guest is apologizing to the world. Jasmine Crockett is a Democratic congressman from Texas and sits on the House Oversight and Judiciary Committees. And I'm awfully glad to have you here because I read what you said, apologizing to the world. And I want to go deeper into it because you said, I'm sorry that the bright light America used to be is dimming. Why did that whole interaction seem to be so distant for you, for what the U.S. stands for?
Besides the fact that we're talking about an ally, we're talking about Ukraine, a country that was invaded. First, it started off with trying to change the facts. We don't live in a world of alternative facts, trying to change the reality of who invaded who. After we kept saying that Trump was nothing but Putin's puppet, we kept saying that he was palling around with Putin. We've said it all kinds of ways, but this comes at the heels of the UN voting with Russia. This also then is an opportunity for Trump to show that no, America knows who our friends are and we're going to stand with those friends. And unfortunately, he decided that he wanted to talk about his clothes. Now, maybe this is because Trump never wanted to go serve his country. And right now, the only service that he's giving to us is driving our country apart. But I'm sorry, when you're at war, you're not worried about your outfit. That is what we call a privilege, number one. Number two, to say, oh, what can you afford? Well, if he was walking around in the fanciest suits, I'm sure that they would accuse him of taking our dollars and spending it on his wardrobe and being more concerned about that. Listen, this is a no-win situation when you're walking in with someone who has decided that he is going to align himself with a dictating thug.
Okay, so to that end, we know before the exchange, what was supposed to happen was there was going to be the signing of this preliminary mineral deal, at least, right? Aiming to end the war, but without Trump committing to any security guarantees. I mean, you say that peace should not have a price tag, but there are some Republicans, as you know, and the president claiming that, oh, you know what, America is being taken advantage of here. Is there a middle ground we can get to?
There's not a middle ground with this president. He has no intentions of doing right by, number one, the United States. I appreciate what the former governor was saying. We are in a national security crisis. We have been in a national security crisis ever since, honestly, before he even ran. We know that he had our national secrets stored at Mar-a-Lago. People felt like that wasn't really a big deal. They wanted to compare it to what was going on with Joe Biden. We know that he was showing this to people that maybe weren't supposed to see our national security secrets. We know that he is consistently engaged in questionable deals as it relates to our emoluments clause when he was in the first go round. Next thing you know, his son-in-law was getting a lot of money from the Saudis as soon as they walked out. And so right now, and not to mention, he has decided that his DOJ will not prosecute cases that engage in any type of foreign nefariousness when it comes to getting money. So unfortunately, we have someone that is occupying the White House. And as far as I'm concerned, he is an enemy to the United States. He swore an oath just like the rest of us. But right now, when you are literally putting us at risk, all because of what? Because you want to convince your followers that you should be a dictator too, that you should never leave the White House because you don't believe that elections should take place. I don't really understand what is going on, and I don't know what it's going to take to get people to wake up. We are not living in a safe country when we decide that we are going to weaken our national security by getting rid of those that are watching our nuclear stockpile, by giving everything over to a private friend known as Elon Musk. We are getting rid of all of the inspector generals. And so there's literally a lack of checks and balances all around us. And then we have somebody who's sending his vice president out to offend our allies in Europe. Listen, the way that I used to explain this on the trail when I was campaigning for Madam Vice President is I would say, listen, it's kind of like the schoolyard. When you go to school and everybody knows that your siblings are at the same school, or they know that your cousins are at the same school, then they may not pick a fight with you because they know that if they pick a fight with you, they got to pick a fight with your whole family. But when you're like me, an only child, they may decide to pick a fight with you because they're like, there's nobody that is going to back her up when we get to the playground. Right now, he's trying to put us into a situation to where we will be the only ones on the playground when you're going out talking about you're going to go into Canada, when you're going out and you're talking about Mexico. Listen, Zelensky is right. He doesn't have the privilege that we have. We've got water on each side, and we used to have friends on the north and south. He doesn't have that privilege. And so I really want America to wake up because it should not be partisan. Be the selfish people that we love to be in America.
Yeah.
Worry about your safety.
You mentioned Elon Musk, which brings me to those federal employees that are receiving that. These are emails again this weekend, demanding, asking, whatever, that they sum up what they did last week. And you're a member of the House DOGE subcommittee. Are you looking into the legality of this? I mean, should federal employees even respond? Have some been fired as they've been threatened to be fired if they don't respond? Do you know?
We get no answers.
No answers.
DOGE is just something for Marjorie Taylor Greene to sit atop and make it seem like she's important. We ain't doing nothing. I mean, it's much like most of what we see in Congress, right? Because we've yet to have anyone that works for DOGE. I don't even have a list of who works for DOGE. We have nothing from them whatsoever. We have no findings from them where they're issuing reports to us and they're saying, hey, these are the things that we really need to root out as you are going through the budget process. We have none of that. We have no information about who exactly is sending these emails because we know that they told the courts, oh, Elon isn't running DOGE. Then they told us that a woman that was on vacation in Mexico was running DOGE. Like, you talk about transparency. There is literally a lack of transparency. And when we decided that we wanted to subpoena him to come in, him being Elon, you know who didn't even want to debate it? The Republicans. Not only did they shut it down, but they wouldn't allow us to engage in debate because they really don't have an explanation for why we would have an entire subcommittee that is supposed to sit atop this organization or whatever it is, because it's not really an organization, and they don't want to bring in the guy that is the face of it.
Can I ask you, is it also a little bit because they're afraid to go up against Elon Musk and Donald Trump?
Well, I don't know if they're afraid. I just think they're wusses. I mean, you know, I don't really know what it is, but right now, one of the things that the former governor just said, he talked about people basically giving up their rights and giving up their duties. I've said that they've castrated their constitutional duties. You've got Republicans that will only move, or as we used to say, jump whenever Donald Trump says jump or Elon says jump, and it's usually how high, right? Like, that's what they're doing. They are not listening to their constituents. And I want to say thank you so much to each and every one of you that has shown up to those town halls across this country, because that's what it looks like to be engaged in a real democracy. It looks like showing up and making sure those that have been elected because of your votes start to listen to you.
Es humillante, ¿no? Y hasta aterrador ver a un presidente en la oficina oval que representa lo opuesto a los valores de este país. O sea, hablamos de un tipo que solo cree que Estados Unidos es grandioso cuando él está al mando y que solo defiende valores cuando le convienen. Si es que realmente tendría alguno, lo único que Donald Trump pareciera valorar es que los dictadores le guiñen el ojo. le envíen dinero por cualquier canal corrupto que se le ocurra. Justamente eso es lo que aquí Jasmine Crockett también le echó en cara al movimiento MAGA. Otro momento que también quiero que veamos. Veamos este clip.
Saying no, Trump did not win the election in 2020. That is absolutely factual. And unfortunately, because some people got all riled up because they believed the lies, they ended up getting locked up because they decided that they were going to believe the lies. They ended up at the Capitol on January 6th, and they were trying to tear this thing apart because they felt like their country was falling apart in front of their eyes because for whatever reason, there were people in power that were peddling a lie about the election. We also know, and some of y'all may still say that COVID was a hoax. COVID wasn't a hoax. Tell that to the over 1 million people that died under Donald Trump's first watch. It wasn't a hoax. So no, I do believe that it was okay. In fact, I do believe that it was ethically right for social media to check people because you had people that didn't know anything about science and decided that they were going to put out whatever lies or propaganda or conspiracy theories they wanted to. And people died. At some point in time, we have to evaluate what is factual. And I know that facts hurt y'all. And I just wish we could get on the same page. But we do know during the presidential election that the president would not go and participate in anything if fact-checking was going to be a part of it because he didn't want to be fact-checked. We know that the vice president got upset in his vice presidential debate when he was fact-checked. It used to be a time in this country that we as members of Congress or elected officials thought that it was okay to just tell the truth. Instead, we're pushing conspiracy theories, and some of them are killing people. It's the same thing that we have coming out of Doge. It's the reason that people are dying. It's the reason that farmers are losing their farms because we continue to peddle conspiracy theories. It is time for us to say, Mr. President, guess what? Russia invaded Ukraine. Can we at least agree on that one? Facts matter. Y'all, this is literally potentially putting us into an international crisis. We may be heading towards the next world war because we have a president that wants to pal around with Putin and wants to do everything to make him feel good, including lying about who invaded who. Mr. Chair, I got a minute left, but I really want to yield to any of my colleagues and ask them if they will say today, very basically, that when it came down to the war in Ukraine, that it was not Ukraine that invaded Russia, it was the other way around. Is there anybody in here that has enough courage to say that Russia invaded Ukraine?
You can have my time.
And this is yet the problem.
A veces, ¿no? El silencio dice más que 1000 palabras. Este fue uno de esos momentos. La realidad es que MAGA no se preocupa por esto. Simplemente tienen demasiado miedo para hacerlo. Y la verdad es que no sé cuál de las dos opciones es la peor. Líderes que se supone que deben guiar a tu país, demasiado cobardes para defender lo que hasta hace poco ellos mismos decían que era verdad, que Putin es el enemigo y que Ucrania es el aliado. Sería lo lógico, ¿no? Pero para ellos no lo es. Por eso, amigos, es que hay que seguir denunciando esto. Hay que hacer como Jasmine Crockett y no callarnos. Hemos llegado hasta el final de este video. Señores, como siempre, si me quieren apoyar, regálame un like, comparte el video con tus amigos y suscríbete a nuestro canal Políticamente en Desacuerdo. Nos vemos en el próximo video. Hasta luego.